Well, thanks for joining back in. Nope. I always seem to do that in the beginning.
This is a Lazy Teacher Podcast.
Welcome back to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. My name is Brian Pulowski. This is episode 12 on EdTech. Thanks for checking back in with the show. On this episode, I'm going to cover three things. We're going to go over Sign Up Genius, a website called Sign Up Genius. We're going to talk about Chromebooks, how they're being used in school and how they could be used at home if you're a parent. And then we're also going to talk about computer adaptive testing. Sounds like a big phrase, and certainly what it is it's testing, obviously, but it's what students are using at the end of the year for their testing. It used to be multiple choice on paper, and maybe you're familiar with Scantrons or bubble sheets or whatever, but it's not that anymore. It's gone to computer adaptive testing, so we're going to get into that. Let's start with the first one. The first one is Sign Up Genius, and Sign Up Genius is a pretty awesome website. Basically what it is what their motto says. It's group organizing made easy. And I love that. It's a great website, and I've been using it for a long time as a teacher. What I use it for most of the time was it started with parent conferences. I'd organize my parent conferences through that. And you do it in 4 steps. The 4 steps are: first, you create a sign up. That's what they call them. You create a sign up, and then you develop a group that you're going to send it out to. You can email it as a link out to these people, and then they sign up for it, and then it can send out reminders. And so that's super helpful. So again, as a teacher for parent conferences, and we have parent conferences coming up, I definitely recommend that you do this. Again, it's free, super awesome. It doesn't take very long at all, and it's very easy to do. It's very intuitive. It has awesome templates and walkthroughs on how to do it, and it's very easy. One of the things that I like the most about it is that it can send out reminders. So if I have a parent conference, I set them up. I say, these are the days that I want my parent conferences. I'm going to do maybe parent conferences Monday through Thursday from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And then in these time frames, and then I send it out. And what's neat about it is all my parents can look at it. They can look at all my availability, and they can sign up for whatever time works best for them. So they kind of pick. There's no more like email exchanges or papers that go home. Does this parent conference time work for you? No, it doesn't. I have to work. Can you stay late? It just seems to be a bigger hassle than it should be. And Sign Up Genius, well, it just makes it that much easier. So they can sign up for whatever time slot they like. And another neat thing about it is you can swap if you want to set up allowing swapping. And I let my parents do that. So let's say one parent signs up for like a 2 o'clock on Tuesday, but can't do the 2 o'clock on Tuesday, but they see that, maybe there's a Wednesday open or something, or somebody else has it. You can message them through the site and swap and switch spots. Or what happens a lot is parents have to cancel because of whatever. There's numerous reasons that they'd have to cancel. So let's say they cancel. They can go onto the website, and then they cancel, and then they just sign up for another one. I'm laughing because it sounds simple, and it is, and I love that. And my parents have always liked it because it just makes it so much easier. And if you make things easier for parents, well, they just like it. I'm trying to think. What else do they have? Got little notes here. It's an easy sign-up process. It doesn't take very long. You can use it for all different kinds of things. I've used it for potlucks for parties. So like if we're going to have a party and I need students to bring in stuff, I could create a Sign Up Genius with, I'm looking for hot Cheetos, cupcakes, Capri Suns, plates, napkins, you know the drill. And you send it out, and then parents can sign up for whatever they want. So it doesn't have to be like time slots. It could be they're going to sign up to bring maybe the plates and cups. So they can sign up to bring plates and cups. And then what happens is maybe they go to the store and they're like, oh, you know what? I see some napkins. I know that was on the list. They can grab that, jump on Sign Up Genius, and sign up for the napkins also. It makes it very easy. I hated that. I hated the party planning and sending home sending home paper of like, this is what we want. Can you bring this in? And there's never like a firm commitment. And then you'd get emails and questions saying, well, when exactly did we need to bring that in? All the information is on the site and it sends reminders. So we'll go back to the Tuesday example. Tuesday, I want them to bring in the plates and napkins. If they don't remember, that's okay, because Sign Up Genius will send them a reminder and you can set it up for just before, the day of, 2 days before. I usually send it 24 hours ahead of time. So 24 hours ahead of time, they get a reminder email that says, you signed up to bring plates and napkins to the party, or you signed up for the parent conference, whatever the sign-up's for. And it's just easy. And easy is the word I'm going to keep bouncing to, because Sign Up Genius makes everything so much easier for organizing parent conferences and parties. Really anything that you need parent involvement in, group organizing made easy. That's what they say. And it really does make things easy. So Sign Up Genius, check it out. It's free. Parents don't even need an account. All they have to do is they receive an email that you send them, and then they can just do it straight from there. They're just logging in as a guest. Now, of course, when they sign up, they will have to put in some information because you need to know who they are. But basically, you decide that information. I usually have them put in their name, the parent name, and the student name, so I know who they are. And then everything else is collected. Sometimes I'll put an email if I need to contact them back, but really through the website, you can message them. So again, group organizing made easy. I love Sign Up Genius. So that's what Sign Up Genius is. Chromebooks. Wanted to talk about Chromebooks because our school and many schools in districts around California, certainly and probably all over, are moving to Chromebooks. And Chromebooks are pretty awesome in that they're really inexpensive because they're similar. They're very similar to a laptop. They look just like a laptop, but they don't function exactly like a laptop. So here's where Chromebooks are a little bit different. Chromebooks don't have a whole lot of memory on them. Okay, so if you wanted to store pictures and songs and games on your laptop, a Chromebook wouldn't work for that. So it cuts down on cost because it doesn't have a lot of memory. The way that a Chromebook does work is it's internet based, right? So it's internet based and it saves everything to the cloud. Basically, Google, when you get a free Google account, it offers you all this storage space for pictures, email, music, all different kinds of stuff. So that's really one of the ways that Chromebooks cut down on cost, is that they don't have the memory. Okay, you can get them in different sizes. I wrote down a note here that shows as of today, if you look on Amazon, they're about $250. You can get a 13 to 15 inch screen for about $250. I've heard stories from parents that have seen them at Sam's Club or Costco or any of those really big box warehouse places that will sell Chromebooks for around $200. I know they're about $200 around Christmas time. That's a smoking deal for a computer. If you compare it to similar size and functionality of a PC of about the same size and functionality is going for about $450 right now on Amazon. What are we looking at? Like a $200 difference? That's a lot. That's a lot to me, you know what I mean? And I would use it. My kids all have Chromebooks. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. But that's just a PC. A PC laptop's about $450. A MacBook laptop would be, a lot more, almost twice as much. So you're certainly saving money for a Chromebook. They have the advantage of that. Again, with Chromebooks, you could log in as a guest. You could also log in. I recommend, and I know that Chromebooks all recommend, that you log in with a Google account. If you log in with a Google account, you have access to all their free Google Suite, as they call it, including email, and their storage is called Drive. And on Drive, they have Google Docs, which would be similar to Microsoft Word. They have Google Slides, which is similar to PowerPoint. They have Google Sheets, which is the competitor to Excel. So really what they're taking is The things that you'd go out and have to spend a lot of money on to get, like a word processor, they offer that in Docs. Spreadsheet for data, they offer that in Sheets. Slideshow presenter, they offer that in Slides. So everything's there for free, and it's all online storage, and it's neat because you can share it with the teacher, you can share it with students. There's a lot of collaboration that you can go into using the Google Suites. Now, do you have to have a Chromebook to do this? You definitely don't. Anything that can access the internet, an internet browser via Chrome, can get onto Drive. But if you take into consideration as a parent or as a teacher, students can benefit a lot from a Chromebook. They're inexpensive. They're lightweight. It's nice that they're inexpensive because kids can tend to bump them around a little bit. All my kids have Chromebooks, and I've yet to have to replace one yet. I know our school, we're going on the second year of having one-to-one with Chromebooks, and I don't know that we've had a whole lot of problems with it. Students are surprisingly responsible with them. So again, going back to it, lightweight, that helps for their backpacks and whatever they're carrying it in. So I like that a lot. Is there a downfall to Chromebooks? Yeah, there kind of is. One of the downfalls to it is, like I had mentioned, it doesn't have a lot of storage, and you also can't load on what they call third-party software. Third-party software is something outside of maybe Chromebook or Google to load onto it. There's really not a whole lot of ways to load things. First off, it doesn't have a CD, DVD drive. That's another way that it's saving money. But you can't go online and download software. Like, let's say you wanted to get Photoshop. You can't put Photoshop on a Chromebook. Now, is there programs and apps that you can use on the Chromebook that will be very similar to Photoshop, and that you could be maybe you'd be satisfied with that? Absolutely. There's photo editing apps up and down in the Chromebook store. That's what they call it, the web store. So you can get a bunch of apps for that. But if you're a professional that needs to do, professional grade photo editing using Photoshop, that's not going to work for you. But you probably already know that, and you're going to be investing more money into a machine that's going to function for that. So that's just an example. One thing that I've ran into with my son is Minecraft. I'm obsessed with Minecraft right now, which is awesome. That game is cool. So you can't download the game, though, and put it on a Chromebook. Just recently, they came up with, I got to think about this. I don't know if it's an extension or if it's an app. These are all details that you could look up with the differences in them. But Minecraft is available in what they call Pocket Edition. It's not quite as heavy as far as like the software they load into it. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of Minecraft, but it's not quite the real Minecraft on a PC or on a Mac, and there's certain functionality that you can't do on it. So it was a disappointment to him. But you're not buying a Chromebook for a gaming machine. I mean, you shouldn't buy a Chromebook for a gaming machine at the very least, because, well, it's not a gaming machine. You need a lot of things. You need more memory, you need faster processing speed, refresh rate on the screen. There's a whole different things that you could look up if you're interested in getting a gaming machine. Chromebooks, not a gaming machine. Is it perfect for a student that needs to do schoolwork, that wants to play around on it, maybe access social media, get on emails, access to different apps to do different things that could be similar to what they would have on a phone, right? That's the kind of stuff that you could do with a Chromebook. I love Chromebooks. I definitely recommend it for really any student. But if the focus is on gaming, or if the focus is on needing high intensity from the computer, and you would know what that is you would know what that is if you're looking for that. And that's going to be the Photoshop, photo editing types of stuff, really high level stuff, that processing speed. You're not going to get that in the Chromebook. But what do you expect for $250? I mean, it is a smoking deal for a computer. I love Chromebooks. Definitely recommend it. So go check them out if you're interested. Again, I know they have them, I think, at deeper discounts at the bigger box warehouses like Costco and Sam's Club or whatever you have locally. The very last thing that I wanted to touch on was called computer adaptive testing. Computer adaptive testing, let me read this. It's a form of computer-based test that adapts to the examinee's ability level. Sometimes it's called tailored testing. So really what it is a student, examinee, anyone starts on a test and you start on one question. Based on how you answer that one question will take you to the next question. So it's not sequential. It's not maybe 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like that. It's you answer one question. How you do there is going to take you to maybe another question or further down the line. The more questions you answer correctly, the harder the questions get. The more questions you answer incorrectly, on the flip side, the test gets easier. It's neat because it, like the name says, it adapts to the student and to the examinee, whoever's taking the test. That's super helpful. One, because from the research that I've looked into and from what I've heard, it takes about 50% less time to finish a test than it would, whatever. If there's 50 questions, you can get to the same result of finding out what exactly they know on an assessment in about twice as long via this adaptive testing. So you answer a question, you go to the next, 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 and it increasingly gets harder, and it quickly finds your level that you're at. So harder. Oh, okay, you missed it. Oh, you missed it. That level where you started to miss the answers, that's where they're going to determine where the student's at as far as testing goes. It might, I don't know the specifics exactly. It might bounce back a little bit just to say, oh, okay, this got too hard. Let's go a little bit easier. Okay, you got that one right. Here's your line right here. Your level of understanding maybe is how we can phrase it. So computer adaptive testing is super awesome that way. It selects questions for the purpose of maximizing the precision of the exam based on what the tester knows or doesn't know. And like I said, the difficulty increases as the examiner gets questions correct. And in contrast, the questions get easier as the examiner misses questions, right, or gets them incorrect. Compared to the standard test of bubble sheets or Scantrons, like I said, it's about 50 times faster with a computer adaptive test because you can quickly assess and get to the level that the student's at, right? Computer adaptive testing also cuts down on cheating, because students can't sit by each other. And if I wanted to cheat off someone sitting next to me, it's really pointless just to look at their test because they're not on the same question I am. I don't even think that students start for like question 1 on the same question. I think there's a bank, as they call it. There's a bank of questions around the mid-level, and you just randomly start with one question. Based on your answer, we'll move you to the next question. So as a student, if I'm looking at the student next to me and I'm trying to cheat, I probably couldn't even, because there's a great chance that I'm not even going to see the same question that I'm struggling with the person next to me. If I don't understand a question and I want to cheat and figure out what the answer is, it's very unlikely that someone next to me is going to have the same question presented. And if the same question is presented, it's even less likely that it's going to happen at the same time as it's happening for me. So it definitely cuts down on cheating. So that's kind of nice. Like I said, it's similar. It's similar to the standardized test that I grew up with, and maybe you guys grew up with, as far as the bubble sheets. That's not to say that there's not multiple choice. There is multiple choice. There's multiple choice. There's fill in the blank. There's open response. There's different types of questions, but ultimately it's adaptive based on their answers. Pros of it is that a typical test can be taken again in about 50% time, much faster. Often scores are available immediately. So as soon as a student or examinee passes a test or takes the test, the results are right there. So that's kind of neat. There's no waiting time. Cons, there's not a whole lot of option to review and go back. So let me explain that. Let's say there's 5 questions on a test and you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you get to number 5 and you're like, all right, good, I'm done. But good practice would be, I want to go back and go over my questions to make sure I didn't miss anything. Did I understand the question correctly? And you can't do that on computer adaptive testing. They segment it so you can only go back so far. That's kind of a bummer for test taking, because that is a good practice to go back and review. But the concern is, if I only had a 5-question test, I get all the way to the end, but I know it's going to be adaptive. I know that it's going to get easier as I miss questions. So 5 questions, miss. Now I want to go back and review those questions I missed, and I'm going to get them all right. Well, if they let you review and get full credit by going all the way to the end and missing them, I just made myself an easy test. Then I reviewed and went back, and I got all my questions right. So I essentially took an easy test and got 100%. That's not adaptive. That's working the system, and you can't do that in an adaptive test. So it's good that you can't cheat the system, but it also takes away a good practice of going back and reviewing the test. So there's that. Time test. And a computer adaptive test is best done not on a time limit, right? Let's think about that. With a time test, a student or examinee, whoever's taking the test, can look at it and say, all right, I have 5 questions on this test. I'm given, 10 minutes. Well, I know that if I have 5 questions, I don't want to spend more than 2 minutes per question. And students need to be thinking like that. They need to think, how much time do I have on these questions? Well, if it's a time test on an adaptive test, you don't know how many questions you have, because it's not 30 questions adaptive and it increasingly gets harder. It's adaptive to the point where once the program has figured out what you know and what you don't know, and has figured out your level, your test is done. So you could get all your questions correct and be done when someone sitting next to you is testing for longer, twice as long, because maybe they've missed questions, they get them right, they're fluctuating in their accurateness. So they haven't really figured, the test hasn't figured out the accurate level, hasn't figured out where they're at. So in a computer adaptive test, there is no set number of questions. So if you're told you have 30 minutes to take this test, you don't know how many questions there are. You don't know how long you can take on the test. Now, this is some higher level stuff, but certainly stuff that middle schoolers, high schoolers, college students, even professionals in the job force would be doing. You'd be knowing how long you have on a test, how long you should spend on each question. And you can't do that. Well, I mean, you can, but most computer adaptive tests are not going to be on a time limit, but it's absolutely possible, not positive. It's absolutely possible. So you want to look into that. I know that in my school district, I don't believe that the tests are timed. I don't think so. It's been a while since I've had to administer the test, but just something to check into. You can get penalized if you take too long, right? If you know that you only have 30 minutes and you're taking way too long on a question because you thought you had a long time, or you didn't realize how many questions there was going to be and you spent too long on one question because you didn't want to miss any, you can get penalized for missing the questions, because the test is over. You missed all the questions. You don't know how many you had left, but you missed them, so you're getting penalized for that. So, there's good things to it and there's bad things. You just got to look into it. Anyways, so something to look into if you're a student, you might want to ask the school district where your child goes, is the computer adaptive test or is the end of the year test a time limit? I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of schools giving a time limit on a computer adaptive test. It just doesn't logistically make sense, but they might. So if you're concerned about that, you might want to check in with your school district or school and ask how that works, right? So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Did you like my idea about Sign Up Genius? Is it something you can use as a parent? Is it something you can use as a teacher? I know I benefited a whole lot from it. I'm still using it. I recommend it to everyone, but I'm curious what you think. Is there a different website that you use? Or maybe you don't even use a website. Maybe you feel that that access is limited because you feel maybe parents can't get it on their phone or can't get it on their computer, or maybe you're in an area where a lot of the parents don't have internet access. I kind of feel that nowadays smartphones are so inexpensive that essentially almost every parent has a smartphone. So that's something to consider. I love Sign Up Genius, but maybe you have something different. Let me know if you do. Do you have any other ideas on usage? What else could you use it for? I use it for conferences. I use it for different party planning stuff. Use it for staff signups when I have technology teaching things that I do and coaching that I do. I'll use it for that. What about the Chromebooks? Have you seen Chromebooks before? Have you used Chromebooks? Does your children use Chromebooks at their school? Do you guys use Chromebooks at your school if you're a teacher? I love it. We debated between going from maybe a tablet or Chromebooks, and I'm very thankful that we chose to go with Chromebooks. Even in kindergarten, I teach kindergarten, and our students have Chromebooks, and they're great on them. So anything from 5-6-year-olds all the way up, I know, our high schoolers use them. I think they're super effective. I think they're really good for students. What are your thoughts? Do you think that maybe a tablet is a better idea, or maybe bringing your own device is the best idea? We thought about that in our school district. There's pros to that. There's cons to that. What are you doing? I'm curious. You can let me know. How about computer adaptive testing? We talked about computer adaptive testing. That's going to happen all through the year. I know even my kindergartners, they take computer adaptive testing. Absolutely. The main computer adaptive test is going to happen at the end of the year. That's the summative assessment at all the grade levels from third grade through high school. They're going to have computer adaptive tests. So I like it. I think it helps a whole lot. But, I'm very curious what your thoughts are. Absolutely curious what your thoughts are and what you think about all of this. So let me know what you're thinking. Do you like the Chromebooks? Do you like Sign Up Genius? What are your thoughts on computer adaptive testing? Shoot me an email. Let me know. It's Brian, BRIAN, at thelazyteacherpodcast.com. I always appreciate you guys paying attention and checking this out for me. I put a lot of time into this. It's a lot of fun, and I appreciate every minute you can give and take from me. So it's like reciprocal that way. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we'll see you next time. Thanks for checking in. See ya! Thanks for listening to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. If you want to help support the show, you can leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, like us or subscribe on YouTube, or shoot us an email and comment at Brian, BRIAN, at thelazyteacherpodcast.com.